doing ALS. If you try to do ALS now while you're still looking for any other thing, by the time they call you for the first interview, you will stand out compared to the others. So, this one has passed ALS. That means she's ready to go on call if necessary, because you must pass ALS before they put you on any on-calls. So that's it. I think I've attended to most of it. The 7 months gap, you can put it as some holiday or relaxation.
The family holiday.
Get ALS done. I'll keep an eye out for when my hospital starts taking clinical attachment again. And pediatric is a very good department. They are always well set. So it's easy to talk to someone. But even if I talk to someone in PEDS now, it's still going to be the same problem about hospital is not taking clinical attachment, and we're back to square one. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Chair. Victoria, do you have any addition, anything to add?
Yes, just to add that at this time, while you're looking for work, apart from ALS, one thing that can be asked of you from interviews is whether you've done an audit or a quality improvement project. So I don't know if you are currently working now, but that is something that you can easily do and get it ready so that when you are being called for interviews, you can talk about it. And if you haven't done an audit, you don't know how to carry out an audit, we have a course on our website, BaloseghaEDU.com, where you can learn about audits and the audit process. Because when you actually start working in the NHS, nobody's going to teach you about it, but they will expect you to do it. It's sort of what like you kind of need to have in your portfolio every year. Whether if even consultants, we still do audits. So it's something that is very important for you to know. And if they ask you at interview, you don't want to be caught out that you don't know anything about it. So that's the other thing that I can add. Clinical attachments, yes, people are doing it, but like Dr. Balogun said, it's becoming harder. Even my own trust, even if both of us, we've had the opportunity to take you on, because there's a lot of processes before it gets to us. That takes a long time, and the hospital can just decide they don't want to. But if it gets to us, and then we say we're happy to take you, then that works. But while you're waiting for all of that, I think what Dr. Balogun said about ALS and what I've said about audits, I think you should get those ready.
Thank you very much for that. IJ, hope that helps, or hopefully we wish you the best in everything you do. We just hope that will be an open
Thank
door
you
for
very much.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. For Tola, Shola, and Ituma Lewis, you're welcome to BaloSegha's monthly Q&A, September 2025. My name is Abobi, co-founder with Chair Balogun, BaloSegha Limited, and we also have Dr. Victoria, my lovely partner, who is here as well, a consultant as well. So welcome. The first question was just asked by IG about clinical attachments, and that's the answer we gave. So for IJ, that's our website there, BaloseghaEDU.com. You can learn more about the courses that we do, audit courses like Victoria has just mentioned. It will be very helpful. Some of our courses are free. Some of our courses are just a token. Yeah, really token, just token. It will help you a great deal. As Shaya has also posted, you can follow us on any of our social media handles, IG, TikTok, and the name BaloSegha. Sorry, it will help a great deal. For the rest of us, thank you again for coming on board. This is our monthly Q&A. Well, the first in just after the summer break we had. We usually have our annual summer break, and we just resumed again this month. Feel free to ask any question. It can be PLAB related, it can be work related, like IJ just asked. It can be settling down in the UK, any aspect of question of our, whatever question you want to ask, we'll try as much as possible. We'll do the very best we can to answer your questions and try and signpost you in the right direction. So feel free. Again, there are ways of asking questions, just like IJ did. If you think you have a wonderful voice like we do, you can just unmute and ask your question. There is no wrong question, please. No wrong question. We're not here to judge. If you feel you don't want us to hear your voice, we will appreciate that. You can just type it in the chat box and just we'll take it from there. So yeah, let's go. Whoever has a question, just go for it. Again, just before the next question, you can check BaloseghaEDU.com. That's a subsidiary of BaloseghaEDU.com, where it's an educational platform where we have lots of courses. One very important one is the medical legal. Sorry, we had that I think about 2 years ago. Very, very top notch. I will encourage you to go through it. Even on our YouTube, you can watch the one we did and then do the course. Very, very important. If you work in the UK, which if you have not started working in the UK, just know about the GMC. They can be very ish, if you know what I mean. So you don't want to step on their toes. There are rules of engagement in whatever field, corporate world out there you find yourself. Life itself has its own rules of engagement. So we all need to understand these things. So the medical legal course will help you a great, great deal. Like I said, some of our courses are free. Some are just a token. A token that will help a lot in your work career in the United Kingdom. So the floor is open. Feel free to ask whatever question. It's just 90 minutes into the hour, and it's just 1 hour between 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. every last Sunday of the month, 6 p.m. GMT. And we're looking forward to hearing from you. This time next month, we believe that the time would have changed in the UK. It usually changes last Sunday of the month of October because we're just about to enter the winter season. This is autumn. And in the next couple of days, it will have the longer nights and shorter days. So get ready, start preparing your mind, your body, get the warm clothes, and do all the things that you do to help yourself. We try to do the best we can, even in our BaloSegha properties, PLAB residencies. Our heaters are always on. We've put them on from this moment because a lot of people we get are should I call it, residents who come from other countries, not necessarily the cold countries, and we make sure that they keep warm where it is a home away from home. By way of history, BaloSegha started in the year 2020. That was during the COVID period, October to be precise, where we decided to put the company together in taking care of doctors who were stuck. I wouldn't say too much about that. I'd like Shaya to say a few things about how we started, and why we came together. So Shaya, over to you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending. BaloSegha dates back just like yesterday. The idea came more than 5 years. Took us a while to get started, but there was a recurring theme around there. I was very active in the Nigerian doctors in the UK then. I've kind of like stepped down backbencher now. And a lot of people knew me that I didn't know who read my comment. And it just happened that around some time, Nigerian doctors were getting stranded in Manchester. So for one reason or the other, somebody tells them that, they go online, they book an accommodation, and they arrive in the cold winter of November, December, and there was no accommodation. Somebody is swindled them. And then after speaking to somebody, they say, oh, can you text this guy? Then in the middle of the night, I just get my Facebook messenger ringing. I say, I don't know this. Then I pick it up and say, you don't know me, but I know you in Unduk. I'm stranded in Manchester. So it happened first time. And I always had, I'm a loyal member of Premier Inn. So anywhere in UK I go, I don't search a lot of hotels. I just say nearest Premier Inn to me because I like it simple. I know the structure in Premier Inn is the same. So whether I go to Wales, Scotland, Manchester, anywhere, Premier Inn near me, it's the same structure. So I keep it simple. So as soon as they call me, I just say, where are you? What's the postcode? I say, nearest Premier Inn. I use my own login. I book somewhere. I say, when you get there, say, Olusegun available, they'll give you a room. Tomorrow we can talk. So the following, I just make sure, just go and have a shower, sleep for tonight. Tomorrow we talk. Then one happen, two happen, three happen. My wife say, you better buy property for the place, make just the direct end, because you're just spending money every night. And so I said, that's true. So we started that. And then I kind of said, I don't live in Manchester. So we needed someone who stayed, and that was where Bobby gladly and Victoria gladly said, we can do this together. And then we started looking for properties. And I remember that one took us a very long period. But I remember the guy who gave us the first opportunity. He said, I'm going to give you this house because you guys are doctors. But if you want to kill yourself, okay, let's do 6 months. Because he didn't believe in our idea, but he just kind of respected he didn't believe that it would work out, but he just respected the fact that we are doctors and we want to help doctors. And Bobby will remember, before like 3 or 4 months, we weren't owing, we were paying, He wants to inspect the house. We say, okay, go at this time, somebody will be at home. Then the guy told us, he said, do you want more houses? And that was how BaloSegha just started expanding. We started doing different things. We started with accommodation. Along the line, we started getting feedback from other people. Say, you helped me with accommodation. Now we passed PLAB. Can you help us to job? So we started another arm of BaloSegha that became BaloseghaEDU. That does educational series like this one, CV review, audit planning, interview practice, and a lot. And it's headed by our wonderful Victoria, who's a consultant psychiatrist. And along the line again, we got a feedback to say, can you get mannequins? So we're able to import in mannequins, and we try to do the same thing into the different houses that we had. So we got mannequins for general examination, IV cannulation, stethoscope, oroscope, and one other mannequin. Cannot remember. So we basically just kept on expanding. At the point in time, some other people said they were struggling with this application. So we also added letters to embassy so that they know you're coming to us, they know our format, and we just help as many people as possible. We started with Nigerians, but then shortly after we started, Nigeria got onto the red list. So we had empty houses, 5 empty houses. We had to do something, otherwise we're going to go really bust. So there was another Pakistani. Bobby, you remember this guy's name?
Yeah.
He was stranded in the middle of the night. We took him in, even without paying and everything, paid later, and he was really grateful. So he said, I'll bring my people to you. So after a while, there was even more Asians than Nigerians, but it's now very balanced. It comes from everywhere. We've had Canada, South Africa, Ghana, Togo, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Iran, Egypt, everywhere. Now, it's even so funny that when I go to private hospitals and I'm seeing patients and I see a Nigerian or RMO, I say, hey, hi, how are you? How's everything doing? Then I say, we just get on talking on something. And then I say, do you know BaloSegha? I say, I use BaloSegha. I say, I'm one of the partners in BaloSegha. And they're like, really? So it was a bit funny. Some of them would quickly pick it up. And I say, oh, my name is Dr. Balogun, and they say, is it Balogun BaloSegha? Then I say, yeah. So it's so nice to see people who had used BaloSegha 4-5 years ago were meeting in the NHS. Sometimes some have come to do locum in my hospital. They see the name, or sometimes I wear BaloSegha fleece. They say, I stay there. I say, I'm one of the owners. They say, sometimes they don't expect that it's actually an anesthetist or a doctor that sets up. So that was how we moved and moved. Essentially, anybody can reproduce the BaloSegha template. We have shared it with a lot of people. The most important thing about starting a business like this for second income is be flexible. People will give you advice. See how it works for you, how it tallies, how to improve. Most people focus on providing accommodation only, focus on accommodation. But we have tried to say, okay, what else aside accommodation can we? We have helped people with jobs, we have helped people with clinical attachments, a lot of people for jobs, essentially. Because everywhere you go in this world, forget it. Who knows who? I'm looking for something. Bobby's neighbor is doing the something. Bobby will just say, neighbor, I have a brother that needs this thing. The two of you meet. And that same thing, I could look for it for 1 year before getting it. And Bobby will just say, I put in a word. There was a lady who came for BaloSegha meeting like this and emailed us after. I'm struggling to get internal medicine. And I said, okay, let's start from your CV. And she sent her CV. I looked at it, I corrected some things. I said to her, when she sent it back to me, I just remembered that I have this friend in the hospital now, internal medicine. So I showed it to her. I said, I looked at this CV anesthetic wise. It looks okay. Internal medicine, what do you think? I said, let her do this, let her do this. And by the way, my boss was even talking about getting somebody. I said, maybe not the person with it. They tell her to contact me. Like 2 or 3 weeks after she called me, she was crying. I said, what do you have? She said, 18 months I've been looking for the job. I met you guys, and within 2 weeks, they have assured me of a job. And that was how she went for interview. Then another problem happened. When she got the job, they asked for reference. See, if you want to ask anybody for reference, just know that that person will not stab you. So one of our consultants in Nigeria wrote a bad reference. And I'm just like, how can we get to the closing line and somebody just mess it up? So they gave her a kind of probational job for 6 months. And after 6 months, they just said, that man was talking rubbish. We'll extend your stuff to 2 years. Because they didn't want to give a job with a bad reference. So that was how they started 6 months. So essentially, BaloSegha is here for you. Ask any question, accommodation, house job, visa. I've been in this country for over a decade now. Bobby has been here long before me. So even if we don't have the answer, we will know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who can. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. So that's it. I mean, a little history of going back memory lane of how BaloSegha started. And thank God we've been able to directly help or indirectly help people that we've never even met. So thank God for that. Again, if you think you have a question, feel free to ask. If you do not want to unmute to ask, just drop your questions in the chat box. We'll be more than happy to answer your question. Like we always say, there is no wrong question, no stupid question, no wrong question. Just feel free to ask. If you do not know, you only know when you ask. If you don't know, you ask. You only know when you know, and you can only know by asking. So information comes by asking. Thank you very much for doing this in advance. So floor is still open. Feel free to ask whatever question you want to ask, please.
Someone's hand is up.
Stephen, Stephen, go ahead to ask your question. You can unmute to
Thank
ask.
you.
You can, yeah, go on, please. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much, for me, Dr. Olushe and Dr. Victoria, um, for the platform. This is, I think, my third or fourth time joining, and every
Thank you
time,
very much.
yeah, and every time I join, there's always something to take away from here and go and work on. I think the last time I joined was earlier in the year when Mr. I think Jonathan Aja was the guest speaker that day. I can't remember
Yeah,
how far, yeah, how far back that was.
yeah.
But he did say some profound things I did found helpful that I've been working on. And, so for me, I've had my GMC registration since October last year. Unfortunately for me, up till now, I still have not gotten my first job. I'm renewing it next week. And I think after the session with Dr. Mr. Aja the last time, I picked up some things from the conversation about doing extra things to get your first through. Like I mean, it's obviously more difficult than before. I've gone on to get my ATLS here in Nigeria, BSS2, and
Okay.
also it's the Part A MRCS. I'm awaiting my result right now. So I'm just wondering now, like in the recent climate of like what exactly is going on. It still seems like no one has still been able to say, oh, I know a friend of mine that did this, that did that, and then got a job. Most times what I keep on hearing is, oh, write MSI, write MSI. And unfortunately, not everyone, their specialty of interest is something that they can get into through MSI. And I mean, for some people, they don't mind maybe changing specialties. For some, they want to do GP training, they want to do psychiatry. It's sort of straightforward for them. But then there are also the people like myself who is interested in surgery. I know some of my mates who are interested in internal medicine, and sometimes this sort of does not work for us, or at best it's sort of like a detour, like, okay, do it for maybe a couple of years and then you can find your way to your specialty of interest. So for those of us who are still looking at possibly getting into a non-training role first, try to use it to build a portfolio and then into a training position later on in the future. I'm just trying to just ask questions now. Like, one, is that even still something you would advise, looking at the current climate of things in the UK medical space right now? And then, of course, I mean, looking at what has happened in the past 1 year, how difficult it has been to even get these jobs to begin with. What are there proven strategies out there that you think we could also work on to land this this elusive first job? So basically, Sas, that's my question. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Stephen. That's very good. Yeah, I think I remember you coming up that time. So there are various things you can look into. I'll allow Chair to hit the first nail on the head about steps that you've asked for about. Go ahead, Chair.
Hi, Stephen. Thank you for your question, and thank you for always coming back again. Because to be honest, I haven't done a lot of this educational series and this Teams meeting regularly. There is always one point that's kind of like takes the day on in each. There are days where most of the people come and it's only visas that kind of we elaborate on. Some days it's more of accommodation, but today we're just going into the outlook. Today looks like we're talking about the paucity of job. So really, it's a sad situation we are now. And I think the government have kind of like shot themselves in the foot because they over time reduce the amount given to NHS. They are thinking of privatizing. They are reducing the number of medical students coming out. They are increasing the number of, before you came, I was talking about nurse practitioners. So GPs are struggling. Nurse practitioner will earn maybe half of what a GP would earn. So they'll think, let's get two nurse practitioner, one GP. Any case the nurse practitioner cannot do, that one GP will do, will save money. And of course, they're saving money. And the GP, the nurse practitioner is clearing up everything. Now, as they employ the nurse practitioner, they would cut down the number of GPs they will employ. And it just has a backlog effect. And that has led to reduced jobs in the NHS. I kind of did job search with somebody like a month and a half ago, and I was shocked on the available jobs that showed. I'm like, are we doing something wrong? How can we be having 12 jobs? The days when I knew we were doing BaloSegha 4 or 5 years ago, you see 123 jobs. Same search method, bringing out 12, bringing out 13, and once you don't have NHS experience, because now with 12 jobs, there are a lot of people, so they don't want to look at too many people. No NHS experience, don't apply. Never like that. I applied. So that's the scenario we found ourselves. Now, how do you get around this? What I said earlier, probably before you join, is try and get clinical attachment. Because once you do clinical attachment, even for 2 weeks, then you can claim that you have NHS experience. Yes, you have worked in the NHS and you now have NHS experience. But the problem that I then had was, I had a couple of people, I presented them to the hospital coordinator for clinical attachment. And they replied me then and said, we have now stopped clinical attachment until 2026. They mentioned a particular month in 2026. No application again until, I'll check the date, maybe March or something, 2026. I'm like, what's going on? So somewhere, somehow, someplace would have a place for clinical attachment. You don't need to do so long, 2 weeks, if you are allowed 2 weeks, or the lowest possible, then you can then continue with the application. Once you start being shortlisted for interview, then you are going to get a job at some point in time. It's a difficult situation, but I think it is doable. If you have a lot of doubt or you have any question or you need some support, just email BaloSegha@yahoo.com and we can, myself, Victoria, Bob, we can look at ways to advise you. But the only way you can get past, do you have NHS experience, is by getting NHS clinical attachment. And you can just continue sending cold emails, look at places. There was a time on BaloSegha Instagram, we posted some email addresses of the people in charge of clinical attachment in different hospitals. I'm not sure whether it's still there, but it's something that we can still look for and send to whoever is interested in. It's old, it might have changed. And if you email them, some of them will just say, for clinical attachment, this is the person doing it now. And you can just send them something, tell them about yourself, and tell them you need 2 weeks, tell them specialty, and also say you're very flexible. If you put emergency medicine, you're almost always going to have a space because emergency medicine welcomes everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hope that helps, Stephen. Thank you very much for that. I think there's still Tola.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, thank you. Tola still has a question, so if you could look at that, please, on the chat. Well, thank you for that question, Stephen. Again, getting jobs really are tighter these days. Getting the opportunity to go in it's tough, difficult, but not still impossible. We encourage you to just keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing. I mean, the major reason everyone did the PLAB 2 is to get a job, So, but nowadays you do PLAB 2 and you do another MSRA thing, it's a big challenge. But notwithstanding, they are still giving up job opportunities. It's still streamlined. It's still, let's keep pushing, and we wish you the best from BaloSegha in your endeavors. Thank you very much for that question. Feel free to ask any question for the 3 minutes gone. We're finishing by 7. It's just 1 hour every month where you can ask any question. Again, we always say this. If at the end of this 1 hour and we finish today and you remember a question, it is not too late. Just send your question, as Shere mentioned earlier, balosegha@yahoo.com. Very easy email, balosegha@yahoo.com. balosegha@yahoo.com. And just put September 2025 Q&A, so we know you attended this and then you're trying to, get 1 or 2 information. There is no wrong question. Feel free to ask 1 or 2 or 3 or more questions. Feel free to ask. We will do our best to answer your questions and signpost you to the answer if we don't readily have it. Again, jobs, people have called us, have texted us, have sent us messages. How do I get job? How do I get job? And one of the things we also tell, one of the few things we tell them is, how is your CV? Some people say, I've done interviews, I've done it. You can't be doing 4, 5, 6 interviews and not getting it. So what is happening to your CV? Let's check your CV. And by the time they send us their CVs, we find out that their CV is not really, the way it should be. So we also do CV review in part of BaloseghaEDU education department, or one of the subsidiaries of BaloSegha Limited. If you think you have any CV review to be done, send us an email. This one is at balosegha@gmail.com. balosegha@gmail.com. Just send your message, your question, and we will try as much as possible, to guide you through about your CV review. It only costs a token. All of these costs are tokens really, because where you're going to is more important than where you are. Good. Tola has a question. How's your personal work experience in NHS? Is it good, fair, or excellent? Please put in the comments. Okay. Yeah, the one asking. Sorry. Yeah. Contact people, pay and workload. Okay. Yeah. Go on. So yeah. Yeah. What was I saying? So yeah, about CV reviews. If you want us to see your CV, we'll be more than happy to help you and guide you. We also do interview prep talk. We'll guide you on what kind of questions we think. We don't have expo, please. What kind of questions, the line of just prepare you for interview tips. And we found out that it has really, really helped. I said this a few minutes ago. People got jobs shortly after they do interview tips, because we're teaching you about confidence, about how to attack the questions that is thrown to you, all those things. We will do our best to give you that answer and guidance. Okay. All right. For 30 minutes to go. If you have any question, feel free. You can unmute your mic and ask whatever question you want to ask, or you can type it in the chat box. We'll be more than happy to answer your question the best way possible. Yeah. Feel free to ask whatever question you have. As we always say, there is no wrong question in any way, shape, or form. We're all here to learn.
I think there's a question in the chat about, is it NHS experience or putting
Okay.
NHS experience into context. Personal work experience with the
Oh,
NHS.
do you know, I thought it
Yeah.
was shared that actually sent you trying to find out something. Sorry, my bad. I apologize for that. So Tola is asking a question. How is your personal work experience with the NHS? Is it good, fair, or excellent? Please put in people context, people pay and workload. Okay, Victoria, do you want to go for that?
My personal experience, NHS gives you a lot of you learn a lot of clinical skills working with NHS. You get a lot of exposure to patients, both the broad range of patients, whether complex patients. In terms of, I would say it's good because of the skills and the exposure it gives to you. The workload over time has become crazy, more busy. There's more busy schedules. It always seems like we're always trying to keep up. So both acute services and both services like myself, like mental health services. That's why if you hear from people who are living in the UK and they say, oh, they want to see a specialist, they'll tell you they're on the waiting list. They are waiting list longer than my arm. They are waiting list of a year, 2 years. So there's so much backlog of work. In terms of pay, obviously, I'm sure a lot of us would have done research. We know that the UK is not the best place in the West for pay for doctors, but it is really, if we're coming from Nigeria, we know that it's definitely a great step up. So it might not give the best pay, but I think in terms of like skills and exposure to patients that NHS gives to you, I think it's good overall. The people, one thing about NHS is they always love this word, which is called MDT, multidisciplinary. So as a doctor, so you work in the NHS is sort of a flattened hierarchy. So the way that if you are coming from Nigeria, consultants are respected, medical students cannot speak, house officers or foundation doctors, as they are called here, cannot say anything. That doesn't happen here. Everybody kind of has a say, everybody has a voice. So that's what I was saying in terms of the people. But working in the NHS has its pros and cons, but you can get, depending on what you put into it, you can get a lot out of it. That's what I'll say. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Victoria has answered the question brilliantly. And what I would always say is this. I would say my experience with NHS has been excellent. Having said that, my next door neighbor may say his own is poor. So it depends on each and every one of us, what's your experience. And I will say why mine has been excellent. I trained in Nigeria as an anesthetist, and out of curiosity, I was always watching. There was a program, I think, by St. Guys and St. Thomas. I was always watching it in Nigeria on DSTV. I love the program. I'm just like, these people are doing a lot of things. So I said, I'm going to go to the UK for 6 months. So I sent one email, and the guy said, send your CV. I sent the CV. I said, can I come and observe? And I remember the guy replied to me and said, what are you observing? Look at your CV. You might as well just walk. I'm like, they want to give me work. Oh. So I came to the UK, and what I would say is, even though I came with skills from Nigeria, NHS developed me. Because being a consultant is not only about knowledge. You have to manage people. You have to be able to teach. You have to be able to add a lot of portfolios onto yourself. So I came as specialty doctor, And within a year or two, I said, I want to be a consultant. So I joined their training program. It was just a tick box thing. Now, I haven't joined the NHS from 2013. My salary has always been on time. Salary is more than what we will get in Nigeria. It may not be as good as what they're getting in Canada. But for me, this salary does take care of me, my family, my extended family, pays my mortgage, does everything. I'm a consultant. And the higher you go, the more your responsibility, the less the clinical work. So I turn up at work and I may just use the whole patient list to teach medical students, trainee, fill their forms and whatever. I'm not the one doing cannula. I'm not the one intubating. I'm just teaching that this how to intubate, do this. So it becomes lesser. You just have to make everybody happy. Nurse does not want case cancelled. I won't let case be cancelled. Medical students are happy with the list. You go home, I will sort out the rest. Make people happy. Now, when you get to the top, it's more paperwork. What you get when you get to the top is also dependent on a lot of things. For me, now, if people say NHS money is not so much, I say, yeah, I know a lot of tax, but I do private work. So how do you quantify what an anesthetist gets in private work compared to, let's say, somebody in acute medicine? So we cannot be crying of the same thing. He's talking about salary. We are both talking about salary. But I'm making 5 times more my salary in private. As a consultant, you go to work maybe 2.5 or 3 times in a week. Every other day you can do private. If they call you and they say, oh, footballer is injured, I could get for 45 minutes surgery, I could send the bill to footballer £5,000. He's going to pay. So different people, different ways of managing themselves. Some anesthetists don't do private. So when they're complaining, they're talking about what they earn. For people who do private, you just turn up, do the job, do little talking, and send your bill. They would all pay. So back to the question, NHS has been excellent to me. NHS is about people, and NHS workload has increased dramatically. But the way I manage it, if I get to work tomorrow and I'm on a trauma list and they put 16 patients there, well, it's not my problem. Can we see the first 2 patients? We do first patient, do the second patient, then I'll send the trainee to see the third and the fourth. We're doing it. We're going to close at 7:30. When we get to number 5 and it's 7:30, there's 1 theater, 1 anesthetic team, 1 surgical team, 1 scrub nurse. We cannot do 2 patients at the same time. So if we do 5 out of the 16, I'm done. So workload doesn't scare me. They give me 3 sheets of paper for surgical list. I'm not bothered. I say, 1 theater? We still have 1 theater? They say, yeah, 1 theater. I say, oh, come on. Let's see the first 2 patients and let's crack on. We start early. By 7:30, we've done 5. Well, the rest, the following day, they can continue. So workload will not kill you. Just do what you can do. You are just one human being.
Thank you very much for that answer for both of you. Thank you so much. Tola, I hope that helps a great deal. Thank you so much. It's just 4 minutes to the hour. Now it's time to round up because it's usually between 6 and 7. And we appreciate all the questions that have come in so far. Again, want to thank you all for tuning into this monthly question and answer. Like we said, this is the first Q&A we've had after the summer break we've had. We've had about 2 months break, and we've only just resumed. And this is just the autumn edition. Next month will be another time. It will be the last Sunday. Let me just check the date. Last Sunday of the month of last month of October. Sorry, 27th of October. Yeah, we'll have that. We're hoping to have a special quarterly edition in November, hopefully. If once we decide, we will let everybody know maybe next month. But if it doesn't take place, we'll still let you know. Thank you very much from IJ, who asked the first question, to Stephen, to Tola, to every one of you attending. We appreciate you. If after now, like we've said, if you remember any question at all, yeah, how do I contact you? Yeah, BaloSegha@yahoo.com. That's it. Just BaloSegha@yahoo.com. Send your questions there. Put in the subject September Q&A, September 2025 Q&A, and go and ask your question. Feel free to ask whatever question you want to ask. We'll be more than happy to answer you. If you have anything about the education arm, which is your CV, work related, send your email to balosegha@gmail.com. We will be more than happy to answer your question. On behalf of BaloSegha Limited, thank you very much for tuning in. We wish you the best. Keep warm. It's getting colder now. And we'll see you next month in October. Thank you and God bless. Bye for now.
Thank you for coming.